So yun, for today's episode, i-share ko lang yung dalawang option nyo. If you're gonna start YouTube, there's gonna be for sure, if you are just starting out and then you're on a tight budget or hindi ka pa gusto mag-invest talaga when it comes to YouTube, there's a cheap YouTube setup versus an expensive, well for me, it's already expensive, YouTube setup. What is up everyone? Jay Flores here, and for today's episode, i-share ko lang yung dalawang setup ko, which is there's a cheap setup versus an expensive setup. Spoiler lang, of course, the expensive setup is what I would prefer big time. Pero if you're just starting out, dadalawang isip ka pa if you would do this long term, you should start a cheap but reasonable budget setup, and then it's not that bad. You're gonna see later. So bago tayo mag-proceed sa cheap setup ko, sasabihin ko lang na in each category, the cheap and the expensive, is sasabihin ko kung ano yung ginagamit ko na gear and whatnot. And so for that, without further ado, cheap setup in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so first, this is my somewhat cheap setup. I'm gonna just roll some B-rolls up top. Ipapakita ko sa inyo kung ano yung ginagamit ko ngayon. And let's start off with the camera that I'm using. Right now, I am using the iPhone 11 Pro. But take note, just take note, you might say na yun nga, ang mahal ng iPhone, blah, blah, blah. But remember this, you are buying a phone, you were not buying a camera. Kung camera lang pag-usapan natin, maybe you could buy some cheap cameras, point and shoot and whatnot, which is cheaper than the iPhone. But then again, hindi po camera yung binili ko, but the phone itself. So might as well use it na lang kasi okay naman dong camera ng iPhone na to. But right now, I am using the wide lens, so hindi ko alam saan titingin. Plus, if you are using a wide lens for the iPhone, medyo noisy siya kasi lesser yung quality. Kasi lesser yung quality niya. And also to note that I suggest you're gonna use or gamitan or gumamit kayo ng third party app, which is for me at this point the Moment app. I think paid to. I bought this one time pero mura lang naman, mga 100 plus or 200 plus pesos. So you can control your camera settings, which is just the perfect way to have at least better quality than the usual or the native app sa mga phone nyo. So that's it for my camera that I'm using right now, which is my phone, the iPhone 11 Pro. And let's go to the audio na naman. Right now, I am using the Mirfac N2, which is just right there. Medyo malayo siya. Supposedly, the closer you are, the better the quality is. And nakadiretso siya dito sa dongle ko to my phone. The nice thing about the Mirfac N2 though is yun nga, may kasama na siyang cord for mobile phone. So yun nga, hindi ka na kailangan bumili ng mga adapter or ano-ano mang cable. Kasama na po siya doon sa package. And by the way, the phone is nakakabit lang para siya sa cheap tripod, plastic mini tripod, and pinatong ko sa box and just to have that equal length. And sa microphone naman, kasi walang mount tong phone holder ko for a hot shoe, so ginawa ko na lang is just still mount the microphone to a mini tripod, and nasa mesa ko lahat. And that's it for my camera and for my audio. Now for the lights, I am just using a ring light, very cheap, nasa Shopee lang to, 33 cm yata, and it cost roughly mga 300 to 400 pesos with the light stand na, so wala ka ng problema. And you have 3 colors, the warm, the cool, and the neutral, if I'm not mistaken. So okay naman siya in general, but the downside of this light is yun nga, it is very very harsh. So my style or yung ginawa ko is hindi ko siya diniretso sa pagmumukha ko, especially I'm wearing glasses, so my glare, so diretso siya dito sa other side ko, which I have a reflector na mura naman tong reflector na to, mga 200 to 300 pa rin siya. So the light will just bounce from the ring light to the reflector to my face. So parang fill light na rin tong ganito, kasi if wala tong reflector, this probably portion of my face will be really dark. So yun, that's for my lights, a ring light plus a reflector. The background lights are given na kasi andyan na siya sa kwarto ko, and I have some practical lights here sa monitor ko rin, which is turned off. On ko muna. So yun, binuksan ko na. So that can also be used as your practical lights para may life naman or may props yung ambience mo or yung backdrop mo. And if you ask me what I would invest first, is I would suggest you should invest on the lights first and then your audio, and then kinabukasan or soon you can upgrade to a camera. So that is it for the cheap setup. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna compare this setup right here sa expensive setup naman natin. And I think there's gonna be a huge difference, pero again, yung presyo din very huge din, and I'm gonna show it to you right now. And this is the somewhat expensive setup. Kumbaga, let's go straight ahead sa camera. I am using the Sony a7C, which is by far the most, hindi siya budget. Ano siya? Most or one of the best entry-level full-frame camera. This cost brand new body lang mga nasa 90 to 95,000. It can shoot up to 4K, 30 FPS, 120 kung gusto mo ng slow-mo at full HD, flip-out screen, mic jack, mini HDMI, and Type-C, whatnot, and all. You've got it all here on this camera, the full frame. And of course, it has a very compact body. Yun nga lang, medyo may kamahalan, but if you're gonna compare it to the a7 IV, a7S III, or kung ano-ano man, this is by far the cheapest of the Sony lineup when it comes to full-frame camera. And naka-attach sa camera na to, or sa body na to, is my Tamron 17-28, which is perfect. Sa kwarto ko kasi medyo maliit lang nga siya, so I needed a wide lens, and this has also an f-stop of 2.8, so medyo mas maliwanag and medyo blurry and depth of field. Then 2.8 is live, and it is a budget-friendly option compared to the 16-35 G Master 2.8, which costs around $100,000 plus dollars, no, not dollars, pesos. And then ito naman is nasa around 40 to 45,000. So that is it for my lens, Tamron 17-28. And the next thing that we're gonna talk about is my microphone, which is the Mirfac Audio NP10, which is connected to a Saramonic preamp and straight to the camera, kasi itong preamp na to is for mobile or TRR's cable. This is an XLR Boom Studio mic, which is a super cardioid and really good but somewhat expensive. Nasa 12 to 13,000 yata to dito sa Pinas, but the quality is really good naman, as you can hear. So that is it for the microphone, Mirfac Audio #1. Also, I am using an external monitor, which is the DeskView R6. This one's an ultra high brightness monitor. Isa to sa mga monitor na kung lalabas ka, hindi mo na kailangan ng sun hood. This cost around, ganun din, brand new, 12,000 to 14,000 pesos. And nakakabit yung camera ko sa tripod ko naman, which is the Benro. I forgot the model sa Benro. And this one's detachable para magiging monopod, and pwede din to pang overhead. This cost around 8,000 pesos. And nakapatong sa Benro is an Undoer tripod ball head for video, kasi gusto ko yung mga may ganon-ganon, mga pan and whatnot. Medyo okay lang tong presyo ng ball head na to. Nasa 800 yata or 900 pesos na siya. Next is by far the most important thing when it comes to setups is, na-mention ko na to kanina, is the lights. Right now, I am using the Ambitful FL80 RGB that has a light dome, which is the QDP70 double diffuse with some honey grid para mas ma-concentrate yung light and ma-control ko yung light sa akin. And with the light stand of 9 feet siguro to, and may boom arm pa rin siya. So this setup right here, the lights and the stand and the dome, would cost you around 9,000 to 11,000. Pero lahat-lahat na yan. Sa taas naman, eto, nakikita nyo, that is the Ambitful A1. That is a pocket RGB light, pero I am using that as my hair light. This one cost around 4,000 to 5,000 pesos. Diyan naman sa baba and dun sa likod sa may puno, well, hindi yan puno, halaman ko, there's some light tubes, which is the Ambitful A2. That is an RGB light tube na medyo budget friendly ha. It cost around 1,900 lang. And the last light dito naman on my left side is the Waylight RB9. This serves as my fill light, kasi kanina ginamit natin yung reflector na 200 to 300 pesos. But this one, an RGB pocket life pa rin. Life talaga masasabi ko eh. Still RGB, but it cost around 4,000 to 5,000 pesos. And I think that is it for my expensive setup. So that is it for today's episode, everyone. My version of the cheap versus expensive YouTube setup, and I hope nakatulong to sa inyo. If you're on the verge or kung may plano kayong gumawa ng YouTube studio sa bahay nyo, I hope this would help you. Pwede nyo naman i-mix and match yung mga cheap budget natin and then itong mga expensive setup. So if you like this one, never forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Subscribe kayo. God bless. Stay safe. And throw in some ideas kung may gusto kayong ipa-cheap versus expensive natin dito sa channel to. Peace.